folks, welcome back to the Model 3 Man channel. This is the weirdest episode I think I've ever had to upload. For the last week, I absolutely hated driving Red Dragon, my Model 3. And I made a shocking discovery about full self-driving, autopilot, and all of the collection of assisted driving features that the Tesla provides us. And I made this shocking revelation because all of a sudden, I did not have them. Now, in an upcoming episode, I'm going to tell you about it, but there is a clock-type ribbon connector that connects your scroll wheels to the computer of the car and allows you to do various things. When that malfunctions, and yes, I have to take the blame, it was my fault, but more of that in an upcoming episode. When it malfunctions, a whole raft of error messages project across the screen. Let me read them to you so I don't miss anything out. These are the things that it disables as you go out for a drive. Regenerative braking. Traction control gets disabled. Stability control is disabled. Steering assist is reduced. ABS, that's the automatic braking system, is disabled. Lane departure avoidance feature is completely disabled. Automatic emergency braking is disabled. Full self-driving and autopilot simply disappear. Those are the error messages that flashed up onto my screen and prevented me from making use of them. Now I want to tell you this. When you get into the car and you drive and a whole bunch of things happen, for example, you lift your foot off the accelerator and the car slows down. You come to a stop on a hill and the car automatically brakes and holds for you if you've set that in your settings. All of these things, nudging you back into the lane when you veer off it, autopilot along the freeway, everything that I've mentioned, when it is gone, driving is terrible. You may say to me, yeah, but what you're really saying, Peter, is you're now driving like any normal car would drive. Just like getting into a manual car or an automatic shift gasoline car, you're experiencing what they experience. Yeah, true. Completely true. But over 4.5 years of owning Red Dragon, I've become completely used to all of these aids and assists and functions that help us to drive more easily. I cannot tell you, for example, how difficult it is when every time you come to a stop on a hill and you've got to put your foot on the brake and hold it there and then quickly jump across to the accelerator. I had to park in a client's home, downhill, just a little way away from a stone wall. To reverse out again, I had to keep my foot in the brake, get the car into gear, and quickly jump across to the accelerator so I wouldn't knock into that stone wall in front of me. Driving along without autopilot or lane keeping or cruise control. I suddenly realized how stressful it was on a fairly long trip back from the US border all the way back home that I had become used to the car doing the lane keeping and me relaxing, and that disappeared. But the biggest difference and the hardest thing to get used to was the complete absence of regenerative braking. When you took your foot off the accelerator, the car just continued going at almost the same speed. It was 100% like coasting, like putting an old gasoline car into neutral and just letting it run. It was that feeling. And knowing that things like ABS were disabled and assistive lane technology was disabled, all of the things I've mentioned made driving feel hazardous again. It felt like anything could go wrong at any time. I was traveling more slowly. I was using the brakes more often. In fact, I actually wondered if I would wear out the brake pedals during that week of driving. It was terrible. And that's no disrespect to Tesla or the car. I mean, after all, it was my own fault. But when you're stripped of those features and you've become used to them, over 4.5 years of having them, It's a terrible, scary feeling, and it does not feel like your car. The car does not feel like your friend. The car feels like a hostile, alien, strange being that you've been placed into. And every day I was only going out if I had to go out. There was no joy in getting into the car and going for a drive. I went because I had to. I had to pick up groceries, or I had to pick up something else. Otherwise, I did not want to get into the car. I left it in Red Dragon Cave, in my tent. And after the repair, when I drove away from the Tesla service center, and by the way, excellent, excellent service. They got me in within a week. They did a fantastic job. They made sure everything was properly tested. And when I drove out and was able to double tap on the stalk and get back into autopilot, or in my case, full self-driving beta, and I was able to drive along the freeway, engage autopilot, come to a stop at a stop sign, not have to put my foot in the brake, smoothly take off again, man, it was like an old friend had returned. It was like seeing Janine again after a week of absence. So here was the shocking revelation. As Tesla drivers, we so take for granted all of these little driver assist features that have been included in the bundle. And even if you don't have full self-driving beta, but you've got autopilot on the freeways, every one of these assistive features make driving pleasurable, make it comfortable, make it safe. And my revelation was how shocked I was that I had become so used to them that when they disappeared, I actually hated driving a Tesla. And again, it wasn't the Tesla's fault, it was my own. But I want to tell all of you out there, if you're thinking about should you get a Tesla or not, and you're wondering about competitive products and competitive vehicles, go into them very, very carefully to make sure that all the features that we have in Tesla, that I listed earlier, that the car you're choosing has those. Of course, the easiest way to do that is just to get a Tesla. Of course, with the upcoming Cybertruck, with the Semi having been launched, with all of the design and engineering focus in Tesla now on that new affordable vehicle that both of my daughters are saving up for. With that around the corner, you can be guaranteed that when you buy a Tesla, all of those features are part of it. So that was my shocking revelation. I couldn't believe how dependent I was on every one of these features that made my car feel safe, comfortable, pleasurable, and all of these little things, when they were stripped away, made me almost hate the car. I love the car now that it's fixed. I cannot wait to get in and go driving. And by the way, next episode is on the state of full self-driving now. I now have the version that's going on wide release to all people who've purchased FSD. And in the next episode, I'm going to take you with me and show you just how good it has become. So thank you very much for watching this episode from start to finish. I hope you did. I will see you again soon. And thanks again for supporting the channel. Cheers for now.